And once again we have a review about an Android smartwatch. This time it is about the No.1 D6, which is a smartwatch that boasts pretty impressive specs, but do awesome specs automatically translate in a good watch? Well, let's find that out. The No.1 D6 is delivered in a typical No.1 smartwatch box, which we already know from previously tested No.1 watches. Inside we find the watch and a charging cable plus a small quick start guide. The smartwatch itself does look rather cheap. The metal almost looks like plastic, but in fact is some thin light metal, but definitely not the advertised stainless steel. The glass on the front shows a noticeable gap between the glass and the metal, through which water can get inside the watch during rain, which means you shouldn't take it with you in case of bad weather. The power button feels cheap as well, and there is no tactile feedback at all. The plastic cap on the rear can be removed and the battery can be changed as well. It is attached to the watch with a small plug. Unfortunately, the cables of the battery are not soldered properly. We have two watches and on both of them we managed to rip out the cable after removing the battery a few times. Anyone not into soldering small contacts will have a broken watch then. We really don't get why No.1 didn't fix the cables with some glue or resin or something like that, so that can't happen. Below the battery there is a nano SIM slot, but unfortunately no micro SD card slot, which would have been a nice addition. The only part of the No.1 D6 that left a better impression is the leather strap. It feels pretty nice and is very soft, thus very comfortable to wear. You can't replace it however, since the antennas have been put inside of it. The screen of the No.1 D6 is a 1.63-inch LCD panel with 320 by 320 resolution, which according to No.1 is protected by sapphire glass. So far the glass does still look scratchless after using the watch for a couple of weeks. The screen unfortunately isn't the best one, colors do look washed out and the contrast isn't too good. Outdoor readability could be far better as well, even on highest brightness. The digitizer does support multi-touch with up to 2 fingers, the accuracy however is rather bad and there is a huge input lag. All this makes typing on the tiny stock Android keyboard a pain in the ass. Inside the No.1 D6, a MT6580 processor along 1 GB of RAM does its job. The internal memory is 8 GB in size. This means that this small watch has quite some processing power, which of course makes it run buttery smooth. Even 3D games can be played on the No.1 D6, which is impressive. But that huge processing punch comes with a problem, and that is heat. Sometimes the No.1 D6 gets so hot that you can barely touch the frame, and that's quite uncomfortable at times. Another thing we dislike is that there's no vibration motor, so if you put the watch into silent mode you don't get any notifications at all. We really don't get why such an essential feature is missing here. OS-wise, the No.1 D6 runs a customized Android 5.1 Lollipop. The app drawer does support reordering of app icons, which we do like better than on the Fino X5. Sadly, you can't hide icons or create folders for them. The start screen of the No.1 D6 is pretty much identical with the one on the Fino X5, but looks less nice. We find the watch face that can be changed by pressing on it for a second. Swiping on it to the left or right reveals pages with notifications, fitness apps or the weather app. The latter one displays a bit more information like sunset time and rain probability. Unfortunately, the software is still a bit buggy. We frequently encountered crashes of the whole system and also Wi-Fi connection crashes frequently. There also are a few parts that need to be improved. For example, the multitasking view, which can only be opened from the app drawer. We don't get why it cannot be opened system-wide using the touch buttons below the screen. Anyway, the No.1 D6 till today got OTA updates frequently, so we expect some improvements to be made over time. We have been surprised to see the No.1 D6 performing nicely in networks. Mobile data and Wi-Fi reception quality is pretty good for such a small wearable. The Wi-Fi is pretty fast and reaches up to 56 Mbit downstream speed. The GPS does work well, and even when wearing the watch, which wasn't possible on the Fino X5 anyway, the accuracy is too low for real tracking or navigation, but for positioning on a map it's okay. The internal speaker unfortunately does sound awful. It sometimes hurts in the ears even on low volume. Phone calls obviously aren't much fun due to that. The microphone also isn't very good. You have to come close with your mouth in order to be understood properly, but even then the quality isn't nice. What's more, your interlocutor can hear himself, which is extremely annoying. So in the end, using a Bluetooth headset is a must. Battery life is disappointing as well. The No.1 D6 comes with a 450 mAh battery, and obviously that is by far not enough to power a 1.3 GHz quad-core processor throughout a reasonable time frame. You can suck it empty within about 1 hour of continuous use, which is nothing. In real life use, we had to recharge around every 6 hours, even when disabling network and standby, which is a joke. Bottom line, the No.1 D6 for sure has a few interesting aspects, and it is quite impressive how such an amount of processing power can be fit into a watch these days. But in the end, it is nothing more than a toy. The watch for sure isn't anything good for serious day-to-day use, mainly due to the bad battery life. And this is why we simply can't recommend anyone to purchase this watch. So that's all from our side. If there are any questions left, please drop a comment. The shop link and more information can be found in the video description. If you like what we are doing here at China Mobile Mac, please pay us a visit at www.chinamobilemac.de or at our English site www.chinadevices.net and follow us here on YouTube. So thanks for watching. Bye bye. Over and out.